The impossible discovery, the crystalline spires of monitoring station. Alpha 7 had never registered readings like this before. Commander Zethkar's 6 arms moved in perfect coordination across the holographic controls, each appendage working to verify what his tactical sensors were reporting. His reptilian features, marked by scales that shifted from deep emerald to worried amber, reflected the impossibility of the data streaming across his screens. "Run the diagnostics again," he commanded, his voice carrying the authority of someone who had overseen this sector for the past 40 standard cycles. The Zephyrian Empire's most advanced monitoring station had tracked everything from collapsing stars to rogue black holes, but never anything like this. Dr. Valessa materialized. Beside him, her crystalline form crackling with nervous energy. As the station's chief scientist, her telepathic abilities allowed her to interface directly with the quantum computers, processing data at speeds that would overwhelm organic minds. Her usually calm demeanor showed cracks of genuine concern. "Commander, the readings are consistent across all sensors," she reported, her voice resonating like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. "Whatever is generating this energy signature is doing so in a way that violates 17 fundamental laws of physics as we understand them." The massive view screen dominating the command center displayed a three-dimensional map of the local galaxy sector, deep in what the Zephyrians classified as primitive space, the territory belonging to the young human civilization. A pulsing red dot indicated the source of the impossible readings. The humans had only achieved faster-than-light travel within the last century, barely qualifying them for the Empire's notice. Their technology was crude, their understanding of quantum mechanics elementary at best, yet somehow, something in their space was generating energy patterns that made the Empire's most advanced power cores look like flickering candles. "Sir," called Technician Mordal from his station, "we're detecting movement. The energy source is mobile and heading toward our border." Zethkar felt his protective scales bristle involuntarily. In 800 years of imperial expansion, they had encountered civilizations that fought with plasma cannons, others that manipulated gravity itself, and even ancient races that could fold space like origami. The Zephyrian Empire had conquered them all through superior technology, overwhelming firepower, and strategic brilliance. But this was different. This was impossible. The object appeared on their long-range sensors as little more than a speck, barely the size of a standard cargo vessel. Yet as it approached, the energy readings continued to climb. Whatever propulsion system it was using generated no visible exhaust, no gravitational distortions, no quantum fluctuations that their instruments could categorize. "Magnify the target," Zethkar ordered. The image that appeared on the main screen sent a ripple of shock through the command center. The approaching vessel looked exactly like what their databases said it was, a human cargo freighter. Crude and boxy, held together with what appeared to be welded metal plates and painted in the garish colors typical of independent traders. But it was moving at 97% of light speed without showing any signs of structural stress. "That's impossible," whispered Engineer Kovrex, his mantis-like features twitching with disbelief. At that velocity, the metal should have sublimated into plasma. The crew should be nothing but organic paste against the rear bulkheads. Dr. Valessa's form brightened as she processed more data. "Commander, I'm detecting life signs aboard that vessel. Multiple humans, all apparently unharmed and functioning normally. Their biological readings suggest they're experiencing standard gravity, normal atmospheric pressure," and she paused, recalibrating her sensors, They appeared to be drinking something hot and conversing casually. Inside the human freighter Lucky Strike, Captain Sarah Chen was indeed enjoying her morning coffee. The 60-year-old pilot had been running cargo routes between Earth and the outer colonies for the better part of 3 decades, and this particular journey felt no different from thousands of others. Her ship's bridge was a comfortable jumble of worn leather seats, hand-labeled switches, and displays that had been upgraded so many times they resembled electronic patchwork quilts. "Marcus, how's our new engine performing?" She called to the small workshop behind the bridge, where the ship's engineer was tinkering with their latest modification. Marcus Rodriguez emerged from the engine room, wiping grease from his hands with a stained cloth. At 35, he was young for a deep space engineer, but his reputation for innovative solutions had earned him a place on Sarah's crew. His latest creation, which he dubbed a harmony engine, was supposed to make their trips more efficient by working with natural forces instead of fighting against them. "Running smooth as silk, Captain," Marcus replied, settling into the co-pilot's seat. "Whatever we're doing, it's working better than I expected. According to the nav computer, we should reach the outer markers 3 days ahead of schedule." Sarah nodded approvingly. Marcus's modifications often worked in ways that defied his own explanations. He had an intuitive understanding of how machines should work, often building devices that somehow performed far better than their specifications suggested. The Harmony engine was his latest masterpiece, a compact unit that seemed to convince space itself to be more cooperative. "Any idea how it actually works?" Sarah asked, not for the first time. Marcus shrugged, a gesture that had become familiar. "Over the years, the math says it shouldn't, but the universe seems to like it. I think it has something to do with consciousness affecting quantum states, but honestly, I just build what feels right." Neither human realized that their casual conversation was being monitored by the most advanced intelligence-gathering network in the galaxy, or that their smooth-as-silk journey was causing panic among military commanders whose empire spanned dozens of star systems. Back on the monitoring station, Commander Zethkar was receiving reports from across the sector. 3 more human vessels had been detected, all displaying the same impossible energy signatures. His morning briefings now included updates from xenobiology teams, quantum physicists, and military strategists, all trying to understand how humanity had apparently achieved technological advancement beyond anything in recorded galactic history. Commander Dr. Valesa's voice carried an edge of excitement mixed with fear. "I've been analyzing the quantum signatures more closely. These humans aren't using traditional propulsion at all. They're somehow manipulating what we might call the intention field, the quantum substrate that underlies conscious observation." Zethkar's amber scales darkened to a deep bronze, a color that indicated deep thought among his species. "Explain that in terms a soldier can understand, Doctor." "They're making their technology work through will and understanding rather than brute force," Valesa said, her crystalline form pulsing with each word. "While we build bigger engines to push harder against natural laws, they're somehow convincing the universe to cooperate with their intentions. It's like the difference between breaking down a door and politely asking it to open." The implications hit the command center like a wave. The Zephyrian Empire had built its dominance on the principle that superior technology, overwhelming force, and strategic thinking could overcome any obstacle. Their ships were monuments to engineering prowess, their weapons could sterilize planets, and their computing systems could simulate entire civilizations. But if consciousness itself could be a form of technology, If intent and understanding could manipulate the fundamental forces of reality, then everything they thought they knew about physics, engineering, and warfare was suddenly obsolete. "Sir, Technician Model S," voice cut through the stunned silence. "The human vessel is hailing us. They're requesting permission to enter our space for what they're calling friendly first contact." Zethkar stared at the tactical display, where the impossible human ship continued its leisurely approach. His military training screamed that this was either the most sophisticated deception in galactic history or the most dangerous development the Empire had ever faced. A primitive species had somehow achieved capabilities that made their greatest technological achievements look like children's toys, but the humans were asking politely for permission to visit. "Open a communication channel," Zethkar commanded, straightening his uniform and arranging his 6 arms in a formal diplomatic posture. "Let's find out what these impossible humans want to tell us." The main screen flickered to life, revealing the interior of the human ship's bridge. Captain Sarah Chen looked up from her coffee cup with a friendly smile, completely unaware that her casual demeanor was being analyzed by military experts who were trying to determine if she represented the most significant threat in galactic history. "Hello there," Sarah said cheerfully, raising her cup in what appeared to be a gesture of greeting. "I'm Captain Chen of the freighter Lucky Strike. We picked up your beacon signals and thought we'd stop by to say hello. Hope you don't mind the intrusion." Dr. Valessa whispered urgently to the commander. Her biometric readings indicate complete sincerity. She's genuinely friendly and shows no signs of deception or hostile intent. Zethkar found himself in the strangest situation of his military career, potentially facing the most advanced civilization in known space, whose representative was offering him a warm greeting over coffee while sitting in what looked like a flying junkyard. "Captain Chen," he replied carefully, "I am Commander Zethkar of the Zephyrian Empire. We welcome you to our space, though we must admit your vessel's capabilities have generated considerable interest among our scientists." Sarah glanced over her shoulder toward the engine room, where Marcus was probably still tinkering with something. "Oh, you noticed the new engine? That's Marcus's latest project. Honestly, I don't understand how it works, but it's made our trips a lot more comfortable. Would you like him to explain it? He loves talking about his inventions. The idea that the most revolutionary technology in galactic history had been invented by someone who loved talking about his inventions sent another shockwave through the monitoring station. Dr. Valessa's crystalline form was now pulsing rapidly, a sign of extreme excitement or extreme worry. "We would be very interested in meeting your engineer," Zethkar replied, his diplomatic training taking over despite the chaos in his mind. "Perhaps we could arrange a more formal meeting." "Sure thing," Sarah said, finishing her coffee. "Marcus, get up here. These folks want to hear about your Harmony engine." As the human engineer appeared on screen, wiping his hands on that same stained cloth and offering a shy wave to the camera, Commander Zethkar realized that everything was about to change. The Zephyrian Empire, built on the foundation of technological superiority and military might, was about to meet a species that had achieved the impossible through curiosity, intuition, and what appeared to be a fundamental understanding of how consciousness and reality interacted. The humans had arrived, and they were asking politely if they could share what they'd learned. Asterisk. The paradigm shift. The emergency session of the Zephyrian High Command had been called within hours of the first human contact. Admiral Krikstar, Supreme Fleet Commander and the Empire's most decorated military strategist, stood before the massive tactical display that showed the current disposition of human vessels in their sector. His imposing form, nearly 3 meters tall and covered in the ceremonial armor of his rank, reflected the gravity of the situation. Around the circular chamber, the Empire's greatest minds gathered in person and through quantum projection. Military commanders whose fleets had conquered entire star systems, scientists whose discoveries had advanced civilization by millennia, and diplomatic advisors who had negotiated with dozens of alien species all focused their attention on the impossible readings that continued to stream from human space. Gentlemen, beings, and honored colleagues, Admiral Krigstar began, his voice resonating with the authority that had commanded respect across 3 galactic quadrants. We face a situation unprecedented in Imperial history. A species we classified as primitive has demonstrated capabilities that surpass our most advanced theoretical frameworks. The tactical display updated to show 17 human vessels, each one defying physics as the Empire understood it. They moved through space like dolphins through water, their energy signatures suggesting they were somehow swimming through the quantum foam that underlied reality itself. Dr. Valessa, still processing data from her initial contact, materialized. In the center of the chamber, her crystalline form now pulsed with a steady rhythm that indicated deep analysis mode. Admiral, after extended observation, I can confirm that these humans are not using any technology that matches our understanding of engineering principles. They appear to have developed what I can only describe as conscious technology. Explain, commanded General Dexwin, whose cybernetic enhancements allowed him to process multiple data streams simultaneously. Their machines respond to intention and understanding rather than programmed commands. Valessa continued, the human engineer, Marcus Rodriguez, has created devices that somehow translate conscious will into physical effects. It's as if they've learned to make the universe itself a willing participant in their technology. Admiral Krigstar's tactical mind immediately grasped the implications. If consciousness can be weaponized, if intent can manipulate matter and energy directly, then our entire military doctrine becomes obsolete. Our ships, our weapons, our defenses, all of them depend on mechanical systems that could potentially be turned against us by simple thought. The chamber fell silent as this reality sank in. The Zephyrian Empire's power rested on technological superiority. Their fleets were unstoppable because their weapons were more advanced, their defenses stronger, their computers faster. But if the humans had learned to work directly with the fundamental forces of consciousness, then material advantage meant nothing. Sir, interrupted Communications Officer Yelseth, we're receiving a transmission from the human delegation. They're requesting permission to send a diplomatic envoy to discuss mutual benefits of cooperation and knowledge sharing. The irony was not lost on anyone in the chamber. The Empire was considering mobilizing its entire fleet to deal with the human threat, while the humans were politely asking if they could share their revolutionary discoveries. Put them through, Admiral Krigstar commanded. The main display, filled with the image of a modest conference room aboard a human vessel. 3 people sat at a simple table, looking for all the world like they were attending a routine business meeting. Captain Sarah Chen was there, along with Marcus Rodriguez, and a woman they hadn't met before. Good day, Admiral, said the new human, a middle-aged woman with kind eyes and graying hair. I'm Dr. Elena Vasquez, representing humanity's diplomatic and scientific communities. We understand our recent arrival may have caused some ... concern ... among your people. Admiral Krigstar studied the human scientist carefully. His military training had taught him to read body language, analyze vocal patterns, and detect deception across dozens of species. Dr. Vasquez displayed none of the signs of aggression, fear, or hidden agenda that he would expect from someone representing a technologically superior civilization. "Dr. Vasquez," he replied carefully, "your people have demonstrated capabilities that we find ... surprising. Our scientists are struggling to understand how your technology operates." Alina smiled gently, the expression somehow conveying both understanding and reassurance. "Admiral, I think there's been a fundamental misunderstanding. We don't consider ourselves technologically superior to anyone. We've simply learned to approach the relationship between consciousness and reality from a different angle." "Different how?" demanded Dr. Valesa, her curiosity overriding diplomatic protocol. Marcus Rodriguez leaned forward slightly, his enthusiasm evident despite his shy demeanor. "Well, most civilizations seem to build technology that forces the universe to do what they want. They create bigger engines, more powerful computers, stronger weapons, always trying to overpower natural forces through mechanical advantage." He paused to gesture toward a small device sitting on the table between them. "We discovered that the universe actually wants to cooperate. Consciousness isn't separate from physical reality. It's part of the quantum substrate that everything else is built on. Our machines work because we asked the universe to help, and we've learned how to ask in ways that get positive responses." Implications of this statement rippled through the Zephyrian command center like a shockwave. For millennia, their civilization had pursued advancement through control and domination. They had built machines to conquer nature, weapons to dominate enemies, and systems to impose their will upon reality itself. Dr. Alina Vasquez continued the explanation. "What Marcus discovered, and what our other researchers have expanded upon, is that consciousness and quantum mechanics are intimately connected. When we approach technology with cooperation instead of domination, with understanding instead of force, the results are far more efficient and effective." "You're saying," Admiral Krickstar said slowly, "that your advanced capabilities come from asking politely?" Sarah Chen laughed, a sound so genuinely amused and friendly that several of the Zephyrian officers found themselves relaxing despite the tension of the situation. "Admiral, I know how it sounds. Marcus tried to explain it to me for months before I finally understood. We're not commanding the universe. We're having a conversation with it." Dr. Valesa's crystalline form was now pulsing rapidly with excitement. "The quantum consciousness interface," she whispered. "We've theorized about it for centuries, but never considered that biological consciousness could serve as the bridge." "Exactly," Alina said, nodding approvingly. "Your theoretical framework is actually quite sophisticated. You just approach the practical application from the wrong direction. Instead of trying to build machines that could interface with consciousness, we learn to expand our consciousness to interface directly with quantum systems." The revelation struck the assembled Zephyrian leadership like a thunderbolt. They had spent millennia developing increasingly complex technology to achieve what humans had discovered through meditation, intuition, and what Marcus had called building what feels right. Admiral Krickstar found himself facing a decision that would reshape the Empire's future. His first instinct was military: assess the threat, develop countermeasures, maintain strategic advantage. But as he watched these humans calmly explaining concepts that could revolutionize galactic civilization, he realized that traditional military thinking was not only inadequate, it was counterproductive. "Dr. Vasquez," he said finally, "what exactly are you proposing?" Cooperation, she replied simply. You have incredible infrastructure, manufacturing capabilities, and scientific resources. We have a new understanding of how consciousness and technology can work together. Instead of viewing this as a threat or competition, why not see it as an opportunity for mutual benefit? Marcus nodded enthusiastically. We could teach you how to build harmony engines, consciousness interfaces, and cooperative systems. In return, you could help us scale up our discoveries and spread them throughout the galaxy. Imagine what we could accomplish together. The proposition was staggering in its implications. The Zephyrian Empire could maintain its position of galactic leadership not through military dominance, but through becoming the center of a new technological revolution. Instead of conquering the humans, they could partner with them to transform civilization itself. There would be conditions, Admiral Krikstar said, his strategic mind working through the possibilities. Of course, Alina agreed. Any partnership this significant would require careful negotiation, mutual safeguards, and shared governance. We're not naive about the challenges involved. Dr. Valessa stepped forward, her excitement now obvious to everyone in the chamber. Admiral, if we could combine their conscious technology with our quantum computing networks, the possibilities would be unlimited. We could solve problems that have puzzled us for millennia, develop new forms of space travel, even begin to understand the nature of consciousness itself. The debate that followed would later be recorded as one of the most important diplomatic discussions in galactic history. Military advisors voiced concerns about sharing advanced technology with a species they didn't fully understand. Scientists argued for immediate collaboration to unlock the secrets of consciousness-based technology. Diplomatic experts worried about the precedent of treating a primitive species as equals. But as the hours passed, one fact became increasingly clear. The humans had achieved something that the Empire's greatest minds had only dreamed of. They had learned to work with the universe instead of against it, and the results spoke for themselves. Very well, Admiral Krikstar announced as the session drew to a close. We will establish a joint research facility where our scientists can work together with human researchers. We will share our technological resources in exchange for access to consciousness-based technology principles, and we will begin exploring how this partnership might benefit both our civilizations. As the communication ended and the human delegation signed off with friendly waves and promises to begin preparations immediately, the Zephyrian Command Center buzzed with excited conversation. The empire that had built its power on technological superiority was about to embark on its greatest adventure yet. Learning to ask the universe for help instead of demanding obedience, Dr. Valessa remained in the center of the chamber, her crystalline form now glowing with steady, bright light. This changes everything, she said to Admiral Krikstar. Not just our technology, but our entire understanding of consciousness, reality, and what it means to be intelligent beings in this universe. The Admiral nodded slowly, already planning the logistics of the most important partnership in galactic history. Indeed, Dr. The humans have given us something more valuable than new weapons or faster ships. They've given us a completely new way of thinking about existence itself. As the Lucky Strike and its impossible harmony engine continued its peaceful journey through Zephyrian space, carrying the seeds of a revolution that would transform galactic civilization, one thing became clear: humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology, their weapons, or their courage. It was their ability to see the universe as a friend rather than an enemy, and to build their dreams on cooperation instead of conquest. The age of domination was ending. The age of harmony had begun.